Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. And a lot of times if you're using a serrated knife or a knife that might have a partially serrated blade, like this Gerber LMF, it's very difficult to actually sharpen up the serrations after they've been kind of worn down. And there are different kinds of small knife sharpeners. I've shown this one. This is actually a ceramic, or field ceramic stone with a fairly narrow edge. But may not be quite narrow enough, or may not have enough juice on the fine grit to, get your serrations back in the fight. However, Cold Steel makes this thing. This is they call this the stylus sharpener. So its model is KS and then -STYL. I'm not sure what the KS is. Cold Steel. Cold begins with and a C. But anyway, if you look at the shape of this, they actually market this for cold steel fine serrations on their blades. And I don't have a serrated cold steel knife, at least one I could find. But I have also heard that it doesn't quite fit the super fine ones. And there are some that are incredibly small. They're almost like a saw. But I tried it on these various serrated blades. Here's probably the coarsest serrated blade I have. This is a folding, or a Klein folding insulation knife. So because it's so sharp and so pointed, it's nice that it folds down versus other kind of jab saw-y like ones. But anyway, you can see that the different radius of this diamond sharpener will find probably a home, or at least something you can control easy into the serrations should you want to file or kind of hone that back into fighting shape. On generally the opposite side, you can use traditional sharpening methods, but you really have to go into each individual serration. It's much like sharpening a saw blade. Here's the LMF, and you can see it's got two different sizes of serrations there. But I got three different sizes here, and I can go to a fairly sharp corner right there on the top. Get that to focus there. And that actually does fit into these little tiny slots. So I can get that one back in fighting shape there. Here's some Spyderco's. This one is kind of a Spyderco Rescue design, and that has fairly fine serrations. However, if you look at the mating between the finest on this cold steel stylus and that hole there, you can see, maybe I can try it this way and see, it fits in there just fine. So after cutting a bunch of rope, or long raft trip where this would get used hard, cutting up week-old baguettes and stuff like that, I can actually get this thing back into fighting shape and then just switch to whichever one fits there. Same with this. This is a little Spyderco where I can drop that into these even finer ones, and you can see it just drops in, so it does fit. The cold steel ones apparently are, some of those can be really fine. But here's a cold steel. I'm going to work on a review. I just need to do a little bit more with it. This is the Cold Steel Trail Boss. It's a fairly inexpensive, but as far as I can tell, very nice Taiwanese made forest axe. So it's got, I don't remember, about a 25-inch handle, something like that. But anyway, here's another. This is a SOG, kind of a military power assist multi-tool or tactical or something. And that one's got pretty fine ones too. So you can see that the finest right there does in fact fit in and would allow you to sharpen that up as well, or hone it. Others, this is one of my favorites for just general sharpening. If I took that, I've got both a ceramic for honing and a very fine diamond stone there, and this kind of funny little lever there that allows you to undo the lock. But they flip it out and go to town on the sharpening. Anyway, So I thought I'd bring that to your attention, and also a commenter asked me about this, if I keep it stored in here, and the answer is yes. That's probably why this thing is always corroded when I dig it out, but it kind of shares my point. You can have a handful of these in different sizes, from really fine rods to little thicker ones to kitchen-sized large half-inch ones for diamonds, but generally they're one. So it's kind of nice to have something like this where you have all of the variability on a 600 grit diamond stone. And then of course it stores in here. That's kind of the thing, into this ABS handle. Doesn't go completely in, but so it might have some EDC advantage there for you. And drop it out. It's fairly solid, it seems. In fact, if you spin this thing off and see, it's still wedged in there pretty well, even without the cap, but that holds it still. Anyway, it's about 15 bucks on Amazon, which seems like a reasonable price for something like this, kind of a specialized diamond sharpener. Put a link below if you're curious about it. And there's one review that's worth reading. It was a guy who couldn't get his cold steel super fine teeth to sharpen with it because it was too big, but he takes about 500 words to get there, and they're pretty funny. But anyway, there it is, the cold steel stylus sharpener. And with that, Doc out.